Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Hug Nation's Love Morning. I am John Halcyon Stinn. I will be your host today as we share gratitude and give a moment's thought to what kind of person we want to be today. If you want to include your to-do list and goals for the day, great. But rather than actions goals, I encourage you to have your goal to be a mindset, a way of being. My goal today is to be engaging, connecting, kind, patient, complimentary. Who do you want to be, and what are you grateful for? I'm grateful that this morning I went for a short walk with Lisa. Just like 20 minutes ago, we're like, do we have time for a walk? Let's just walk to the rose bushes and back. So we walked up the street and got to put our noses and smell some beautiful, beautiful roses. A couple smelled really great. A couple just looked amazing. Like this is one of the ones that just looked so beautiful. It was this like orangey peach one. Oh, didn't smell as nice as the pink ones, but so grateful to witness, just to experience the sensations of sight and smell and of these incredible things birthed from this planet, from this natural world. And so, wow. Good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, Tara. And good morning, Juan. Juan says, I am grateful for everything, big and small. And Gerbot is grateful for making time for some self-care yesterday. Huzzah to that. I'm grateful for how easy it is to learn things on the internet. You know, I just was kind of exploring aspects of engagement ring stuff. Don't tell Lisa, because my initial engagement ring to her was this wooden bead, and so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do to replace that. And do I want to do something grandiose and custom, which I've got that lined up, but maybe it would be, there's a lot of steps to making that work. And without having like a clear idea of what she wants, I'm thinking I might just, don't tell her this, for maybe just do something, get a simple ring that is almost like a placeholder. Like, look, it's not a wooden dowel. It's an actual ring that fits you, that you can wear. It's got a stone, not a real diamond, but it's got, it looks like an engagement ring that you can wear on that finger. And it will at least add some legitimacy to her saying yes. But so I did a lot of research online and just looked at different options and tried to find, you know, what's out there in the way of used rings, and it's interesting. Just, hello, High Noon. Saying, happy Thursday, you beautiful beings. Thank you. Gerbot is grateful for this sweet earth. And says, between YouTube and ChatGPT, I feel like I have superpowers. Right? High Noon says, I am grateful to be back for this practice and therapy to help heal the mind-body connection. Woohoo! Gerbot saying, lab diamonds for the win. Yeah, I one of my closer friends is a jeweler, incredible. He's just so knowledgeable and so skilled in so many areas. And he was kind of giving me the download on how the world of diamonds is just dramatically changed over the last few years. You know, I mean, there's a reason why diamonds are valued. You know, they are so hard that you can wear it on a ring, and as it knocks things as you're going through life, it doesn't it takes a beating. It's still going to be gorgeous. Other stones will show the wear and tear and get dulled and chipped and things like that. But diamonds, historically are connected to atrocities. But now that they can make them, it is a diamond. It isn't just made using science instead of time and pressure. And so maybe that's the option. Although I'm not attached to a diamond either. Maybe I'll get a big chunk of asteroid. Juan says, I'm grateful for porta potty tacos, my gift for 2025 Burning Man. What exactly is a porta potty taco? Is it something you eat in the John, or which part is the pun? Is it a taco like gift for the Portos, or is it exactly what it sounds? I'm quite curious. Gerbot says it gives a beating. Exactly right. Yeah. As you knock your walls with your ring, you're gonna leave scratches in the wall. And with the frequency that Lisa gets into street fights, I do want to make sure that her ring is able to, have a contact with teeth and jaw bones without getting too much damage. That girl is rough. Anybody want to share any more gratitude that they've got? I am grateful that the house is being cleaned today. Grateful that a friend, Zan, is coming into town tonight just for a night. I'm grateful that a friend, Jason, signed up to come to my men's gathering. Two guys that are in my San Diego men's group signed up. So awesome guys. I'm stoked that they're gonna they are. I always appreciate the courage and the insight and the self-reflection. So I'm super stoked. But my friend Jason he sent me a message filled with I wrote him oh fuck yeah, he signed up, and he goes, and he followed up with another question for me. And I just got inspired, so I went to Suno and I had it write a song about his decision choices. And then I remembered that when he visited me a couple weeks ago, I had him dance in front of a green screen. And so then I took the song and then animated it to him dancing in front of a green screen. And it was just going to be a quick little thing. And I probably spent close to 3 hours on it, 2.5 hours. So I'm really going all in with the micro audience thing of making creative projects that are not intended to go viral or get social media attention. They are intended to make a person or a small group of people feel special. Tara says, today I want to be in flow. I'm grateful for perception and perspective shifts. Yes, I love that. Thank you. Michael says, I'm torn. I lent a guy that was in a bad situation $150, and now he's telling me to eat a dick a week after he was supposed to pay me back. I have quite a lot of evidence if I want to click send and allow my data to be subpoenaed by his local police of shit he sent me, things that I'm not interested in. Hard shit. Should I eat the loss or teach a hard lesson? That is such a good question. So let's see. You loan someone money, they are not paying you back and being a dick about it. So I think there's a lot of things to consider. One is the return of the money significant enough that it's worth fighting for. Like $150 is how much you lent them. How much time and energy do you put the value on $150? Because I would take the teach him a lesson part out of it and just view this from the lens of your life and your experience. Deciding to prolong a fight legally means that this fight, this conflict, this dissonance in your world, your psyche, is going to be present for a long period of time. There will be paperwork to fill out. There'll be drives to and from courthouses, perhaps. To me, $150, I would say, I'm never going to think of it again. I'm going to block him and never think of him again. Maybe if there's a community we share in, I might say, hey, I had a bad business dealing with this gentleman, and happy to explain further if someone is considering loaning him money or partnering with him, and make that a personal thing. I had a business go sour. There were 3 partners in a business we started, and the guy who started it, I was number 3, ended up suing number 2 for I think $80,000, and they went in front of a judge. It was what they do, the mediator judge, and the judge was like, look, if you want to fight this and spend the next 2 years trying to avoid paying $80,000, like, respect, but if it were me, the psychic pain of staying in this fight, having this conflict at the front of my mind for the next 2 years, it'd be a no-brainer. I'll just take $80,000 hit for 2 years of my life. And that's what my friend did. He said, okay, because the judge was like, your evidence seems to be in your favor. Like, if this went to trial, I think you'd win. But at what cost? And so my friend just said, okay, I'll pay what this guy's asking, even though it's basically extortion. And I think stepping back every once in a while and thinking about what are the costs involved beyond money. What is the time? What is the energy? What is the suffering of being committed to a fight, committed to conflict, having a person that infuriates you, being tied to them? It can be very expensive, and it leads into another way I like to look at those type of situations is you're going to have to pay the optimism tax. Every so often in life, someone screws you over, and it costs $150 in this situation. And rather than spending the next however long fighting for that money, or changing your whole perspective on fellow humans, being like, people suck, you can't trust anyone, you go, optimism tax time, I'm going to pay $150, and then what I get in exchange for that is I get to continue remembering how many amazing people are in the world. I get to keep trusting, get to keep living with my heart open, assuming good intent from people. Because that is priceless. You might find a way to never be screwed over again. You put the walls up, you distrust, you make sure that nobody gets in too close. But the cost of that is so deep, so damaging to our potential and the possibility of really enjoying life and relationships. So my advice to you would be block them and pay optimism tax and start looking for examples of good in the world, good people, ways that you can be good, rather than dedicate a certain portion of your thought patterns for the next however long to bad stuff, bad person. Just whoosh. Like going to a doctor. Like, what would it cost to take out this cancerous tumor? $150. Okay. Thank you. Can you just take it? Yep. Yep. There we go. Ah. Good morning. Care about asking, isn't that the best way to live life? Focusing our efforts on the people around us? Yeah. Yeah. And that's really with the micro audience stuff. And that's really, did I talk here about the difference between sphere of influence versus sphere of concern? That came up in my men's group, and that, when there's so much bad happening in the world, your sphere of concern just gets a massive, but our sphere of influence doesn't change that much. And so when there's a disconnect, when the sphere of concern is bigger than your sphere of influence, that's when stress happens. It's there's a struggle in our spirits. So one of the antidotes, yes, you can try to increase your influence, but there's dangers to that too. And there's dangers in that belief, like, oh, I'm going to be the hero, I'm going to save the world. But finding a way to focus your concern to places that you do have influence is, I think, the answer to be able to live joyfully and purposefully. Oh, thank you so much, High Noon. Happy to hear that. Good morning, Mingle. Good morning, Michael. Steve says, you're so right. I got sued once wrongfully and was determined to crush her, but it ended up taxing my mental health for 2 years. I didn't realize how much space she was taking up in my mind until it was over. Exactly. It is, and then one of the tough things is that you go see a lawyer, and unless it's a friend of yours, the lawyer is a business person, and so their advice is going to be towards the legal path forward. Their advice is going to include tons of billable hours for them. A trustworthy lawyer is going to make sure that you know, like, hey, you might win this, but I'm not sure if it'll be worth it. Good morning, Doran. Sphere of influence over sphere of concern. Whoa, mind blown, right? It totally helped me. And it helped me to really kind of visualize some of the struggle I had last month of like trying to figure out what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And not having any answers to that. It's like, well, one of the things that, rather than panicking about how to increase my sphere of influence, maybe being more realistic about my sphere of concern, and then spending time actively working on influencing those places. Any last gratitude anyone want to share before we head off into our days? Michael saying, at this point, it would be purely punitive reaction on my part. I see no legal recourse for recovery. Only what damage can I cause in his life as a consequence of taking advantage of my good nature. it is very tempting to feel the justified righteousness about inflicting punishment on one who deserves it. Versions of this happen all the time. Someone posts something, a comment on something you posted, and it's mean or it's combative, and you have a desire to no, I'm gonna make them feel bad for what they said. I'm gonna show them. And when you're in that mode of punitive or someone else's negative impact on you, you then focus on it. You are choosing the direction and the tone and the theme and the subject of the battles of your day. I used to respond to negative comments way more than I do now. And now I'm like, wait. If they didn't post that, my mind would be going in this direction. Gratitude, connection, relationships. If I respond to them, I am now robbing energy from the person that I want to be and dedicating that energy into conflict. And they're not worth it. They're not going to go, oh, aha. Thank you for spending so much energy on me. I now agree with you and I apologize. And I hope you feel so much better about all this. No, it's a pit. There's no reward there. So cut your losses and recognize that there are crappy people out there and you got to pay optimism tax. But dedicating your life to punishing those that are damaged, I don't think that is a good use of energy. At some level, their actions have shown you indications of their trauma, of their fears, their insecurities, their survival instincts that may have been kicked in because whatever things happened to them. If they were operating from a place of self-love, peace, and generosity and kindness, they wouldn't do the things that make us so angry. So you can go ooh, I have compassion for this stunted, damaged spirit and the way that it's acting out. I feel pity and sorrow. That life is gotta suck. Imagine how many more people like me there are in the world that are angry at that person. What that must feel like. So I encourage self-care. I don't want to be another person that has dedicated a portion of my life to being angry at that person or punishing that person, when the result is not going to be fixing them. So I wish you luck and good judgment and restraint and hopefully the ability to know that life is not fair. And sometimes you gotta walk past the damaged stuff and not feel responsible for fixing it or punishing it, bringing it to justice. Now, you can adjust your behavior so that you don't let them do it to you again. You could even, notify friends or people in the community and say, hey, you guys know the story about the frog and the scorpion? My experience is this guy is a scorpion. So caution, I just want to say I did not have a good experience. I'm moving on. If you're about to go into business with this person, before you do, I'm happy to tell my story. But if you want, if it feels irresponsible not to, you can do that. But again, good luck. Echo says, I'm grateful for this new day. Yeah. Girvat says, always grateful for you, John, and this practice. Thank you. I am Really enjoying it too. I at my men's group, when we were talking about how we're dealing with the world, I said this is a fundamental part of my self-care is group gratitude. Oh, I should also mention, I mentioned of doing like a book club, but instead of books, it might be a book, but it'd be like a TV show or a podcast. And I've been getting really into this podcast called The Emerald. And I'm thinking of copying their model where they have like their Patreon level, and at $6 a month, you are invited to group conversations. So this book club would be for Patreon supporters so that we could have a little, it changes the dynamic when people are choosing to be there versus just stumbling in because they're bored. Not that you stumbled here because you're bored, but that's the experiment that I'm headed towards right now. So if you have feedback or you follow people or you are Patreon followers of people that do stuff like that you think I should look at, let me know. Or if you think something else that I could do in that realm of like, what is a perk that would be more realistic if we knew there was a smaller group of people doing it, like maybe a group therapy session or a monthly men's meeting. Maybe that's what it is. Once a month men's meeting, once a month book club. I really like that idea. Steve is grateful for his daughter and her husband. They're coming for a visit this weekend from Kauai. Nice. That's got to feel so good. Michael said, with all that said, I am grateful for what I have, not what I am missing. I don't mean to put a negative tone to your space. For that, I apologize. I am grateful for your advice. Michael, no apology needed. From the fact of how much I talked about it, I think it's a really worthy conversation. This is part of the path of a love ambassador is recognizing what are the things that can pull us off path. We all want, sure, intellectually we know we want to be kind and patient and good. But these situations happen where it's like, well, I have no choice. I have to go after this guy. And it's a really good conversation just to ask and be like, do I? Well, is my mission as a love ambassador magnified or minimized by the energy I put into this? Whatever that this is. So thank you. I really appreciate you sharing. That was an awesome example to chew on. Echo says, it's so powerful to be discerning of how we are using our energy and how we are being impacted by others' energies. Energetic sovereignty is huge. Yeah. Juan says, my oldest brother took $125,000 and spent it. Now I'm down to 8 brothers. That's hard. Yeah, I basically, I only loan money outside of a contractual situation if I truly can accept it as a gift in my mind. If this person never pays me back, can I live with that? Or will that eat me away? If there's a potential that this generosity is later going to be a cancerous feeling, then I can't loan you the money. Or we write up some really specific legal documentation that involves interest and payback schedules and collateral. Sherry, good morning. Sherry says, I'm grateful for losing a job I loathed. I feel so much better. Grateful for another magnificent sunrise in Kualua. On the yoga mat, stretching, coffee, breathing. Rad. Oh, that is some chef's kiss gratitude right there. Not complaining about losing the job, celebrating the end of a job you don't like, and noticing the magnificence around you that is blessing your existence. Thank you, Sherry. High Moon says, gratitude for the ability to slowing down the mind's thoughts when I'm running, whether it is going balanced or has drawbacks. Those drawbacks are such a great teachers on observation to adjust the body mind. I feel like I read that poorly, but thank you for that. Thank you, Saline. Thank you, Doran. Tara's saying that Mighty Network community might be a cool option for you. I've used Mighty Networks in the past. That's an interesting idea. I think I need to get this. Hello?
Hi, is this John?
Yes.
Hi, John. My name is Lauren. I'm just following up with you from Concord Hair Restoration about your email of TRT treatments.
Yes.
Yes. Did you want to move forward with that? If so, I was going to put in some orders for blood work for you.
That would be great if you could do that.
Okay. Are you comfortable with just going to a Quest?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you have insurance?
Not that would pay for that, no.
Okay. They are gonna. Well, I'll try to minimize it that I ask, because you will have to be billed a part of the labs, I believe. I can ask the doctor though. I think he might be able to cover it if you signed up with a prescription with us. So I'll just need your address and your date of birth, please, if you can text that over to me so I can input it.
Okay, I will text you as soon as I am off this call.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then once we get the results, I do want to let you know there is a lab review fee of $350. Is that going to be okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and input that for you, and then we have different packages that you can do depending on what he feels is best for you, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you for your patience. If you stuck with me, that was a doctor's office that I was talking to about two things. That was about getting some lab work done. For the last several years, I have been taking testosterone as my T levels lowered as I got into my 50s. And so I've been taking testosterone. And periodically you need to get blood work done, and I haven't for a little bit. So I'm going to have that checked. It is also a doctor that does hair restoration and transplants. And I am looking into getting some hair on this bald spot here. I don't notice it from the face, but from the side it tends to be kind of like flat. And I'm not sure if you could see it in that moment, but I've been chewing on it. Like what would be the reasons to do it? What are the reasons not to do it? You know, I have permanent eye makeup on. I have nipple rings and earrings. I certainly... Oh, I had Botox. I had Botox to minimize the crease between my eyes because I didn't like that it made me look angry all the time. So these are cosmetic choices that I am pondering and deciding, will they add joy to my life? Like, if I could grow my hair out long and feel like the way it looks, yeah, that would be worth some effort. You know, one last time before I am stuck in a wheelchair, just to have long hair again. That would be fun. Oh, Garrett says, you didn't tell us about the dude. How'd that go? So I went to see The Big Lebowski live in a theater. Not live, but they played the movie in this big theater downtown, and then Jeff Bridges and his body stand-in of 50 years did like a Q&A afterwards. And it was so fun to watch a movie that I love around a ton of people that love it more than me. Like half the people were dressed up. It was fun. So as like you could hear people like mouthing along the words or laughing even before a joke happened because they know the movie so well. So that was really fun. I left halfway through the Q&A. It was cool to see Jeff Bridges talking about it, but it was a little rambly and a little I was late, but I had a great time. I'm so really glad I went. It was fun. Thank you, Tara. And thanks for your patience as I picked up that phone call. Didn't want to deny the truth, and it gave me an opportunity to come clean. I'm not trying to hold any secrets. Doran says, I'm grateful for authentic humans around me. Thanks. Heinen says, Echo, I've been struggling with others' emotional and words sticking to me. Recognizing that, saying it out loud, and hearing your words is powerful. Awesome. Yay! These are the people in my neighborhood, in my neighborhood, in my neighborhood. Thanks for being my neighbor. So, let's try to keep up this awareness of who we are being in the world and what might be contributing or detracting from our ability to be love ambassadors, giving ourselves all sorts of permission to self-care, to limit our spheres of concern so that it doesn't overwhelm, and to look for the opportunities to increase our sphere of influence. Maybe we can do a nice act for someone that is behind us in line, or someone looks like they're having a hard day and you happen to be holding 2 popsicles. Maybe you give one to that person who's sniffling. Oh, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your gratitude in your hearts. Janet says, good morning. I'm grateful for new lessons and clarity as book 2 unfolds. Well, I haven't read the ending, but I think book 2 is going to be amazing. I think a lot in terms of book 2 now. Aspects that I love about book 2 of my life would have been laughable to the main character of book 1. So it's, to get excited about landscaping and my home and cuddling. This is epic parts of book 2 storyline, and I'm here for it. I'm glad you are too. Wherever you are, let's give ourselves a hug, and as we squeeze ourselves, imagine that you're squeezing each other. You're holding me, I'm holding you, and all the people that are here that have shared, we're sinking into that energetic space of connection, holding and being held, recognizing this shared journey we're on and how just being transparent and honest about our journeys can be so healing for one another. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and everybody here, thanks for being here for our love morning. I love you. Enjoy the day. I'll keep you posted on the Patreon thing. And if it's something that you'd be interested in, but like $6 a month is too, sounds, that price point seems like scary. I also want to know that. I'm interested in energetic commitments. You know, that $6 is not going to change my lifestyle, but it does change something in the way that people show up. You know, that's been my experience. Occasionally there are people who are just super independently driven, but most of my clients that I give big financial breaks to don't honor the container and my time in the same way that somebody does who is paying for it. And like, I've got all my own money stories, but I also know that if my goal isn't to make as much money as possible. My goal is to have positive impact as much as possible. And I know that I have a lot of stuff I do for free, and there's a whole nother realm of growth that happens when people energetically commit with resources. I love you. See you soon. And if I didn't mention it, I'm so grateful for Lisa. Oh my God, I'm so in love. She's my favorite person, my best friend. The best. I'm so lucky.